Welcome to the another video of this series, NestJS tutorial from scratch. In this series, we are building microservices by using NestJS. We have already seen how to create a task service. So using NestJS and the MongoDB, and we tested all the APIs. You can see all the APIs by Swagger. So this is the Swagger UI. You can see all the routes, the get all task, create new task, get task by ID, update task and delete task. You can check the link of this video in the upper right corner. I also explained the difference between the monolithic and the microservice architecture. And we started building a scalable microservice architecture with NestJS. In the first part of this building, I showed you service discovery and registry. We create a service discovery and registry using the NestJS. And here is the Swagger UI, where we have all the APIs of the service registry, where a user can register or update, unregister or search service in the service registry. You can also check this link of this video in the upper right corner. We also created the auth microservice, the authentication and the authorization API with NestJS and the PostgreSQL, where user can register himself in the systems and user can log in and get the token. And by providing the token, he can see the details, user details. So this is the authorization part. In today's video, we are going to build the email service, the manage draft, inbox, trash emails, send emails APIs using the NestJS and the PostgreSQL, where user can create a draft email, and next he can list all the draft email he's created, and next he can send email to the another user and get the inbox email, whatever emails are sent to the users, and he can see the sent emails, which emails is sent to other users. And here the authorization part will be done by this auth service. So by using this auth service, the user will log in and get the token, and he will provide the token here. Here all the routes will be auth guarded. So without this token, user can't use any of these routes or any of these APIs. So first I will demonstrate all the routes by creating a draft email first. So this create draft email, I will try it out, and I will I have the payload here. We have to provide the subject and the message which you wants to, and you can save as draft. So I will execute, but here you can see the forbidden results 403. The user is forbidden because it if you see the call command, the header don't have any token. So I will get the token by using this user login. So I will log in with this user ID and the email, and here I got the token. Now we'll copy the token, and here in our email service I will authorize by pasting this token, and now we'll try to create a draft email. Now you can see it's 200 successfully created and the mail ID is 4. Now I will list all the draft emails. Here this is the paginated APIs. So you can provide the page and the per page, the page number 1 and the per page. I want to see the 10 records. Now if I execute it, you can see we have the token in the header, the authorization token, and here is the results, ID 4 and test sending, is saving as draft, and here is the user details, and it is the sender and the folder is the draft. Next I will send the email to another user. So payload for this sending email, we have the subject test sending to Abby and sending to Abby now the message, and here is the receiver details. You can append more than one receivers here, and mail ID will be 4, which I just created, and I will execute. And here you can see it's bad because the user ID must be a number. So we also have the payload validation. It should be a number, that's why it's complaining. Now I'll execute, and you can see 200 response headers, and it's executed successfully. Mailed sent successfully. Now if I go to the sent emails, I will definitely get the emails. Those APIs are paginated APIs. So you can see this is the sent email and the mailbox users. Mailbox user, you can see the sender details, also the receiver details. And here is the mail which this user Surajit Malik sent to Abir Malik. Now I will go to the drafts email, because after sending the drafts email should be uh, null or should be empty array. So here you can see the drafts emails is empty because this drafts emails is already sent. Now I will log into the Abhi Malik and I will check the inbox. So this is the email where I sent the mail, abhi@test.com. Now I got the token and I will authorize here. I will log out from the Surajit Malik and here the Abir Malik login. Now I will go to the inbox, get inbox email list, and the pagination will be the 1 and 10 per page. And if I execute, you can see the email test sending to Abhi, and here is the sender is the Surajit Malik and the receiver Abir Malik. So by login Abir Malik can see the inbox mail, whatever the mail sent to him. Now we will integrate these APIs, this list of APIs, create draft email, create draft email list, send email, get inbox email, and get sent email list by using NestJS and the PostgreSQL. So let's get started. The prerequisite thing here, the Node.js. I already have described how you can install the Node.js, and I have a separate video how you can install the PostgreSQL in your Windows machine. You can check the link in the upper right corner. Now I will go to the Visual Studio Code editor and start coding of the email service. So if I go to the Visual Studio Code, here is our services. We already built the auth service, service registry, and the task service. The auth service we will use for the authentication here and get the token, and by this token all the APIs of the mail service will be validated. So first I will create the email service using the NestJS, and the command is nest new, and the project name I already explained in details about all the commands of the nest in the first video of this series. You can check. So and you need the NestJS CLI globally installed to use this nest command. So I'll copy this nest new case it or the nest new mail service. It will take some time to create a mail service NestJS project. It will basically scaffold a NestJS project and install the dependencies whichever need for a basic Nest project. So here you can see it successfully created the mail service project. Now I will change the directory to the mail service. Here it's our mail service, and inside the mail service I will create the module, controller, and the service. So the command is the nestg module mail to create the module inside the src folder. You can see it's created a mail folder here and the mail module.ts it's created. Next I will create the service and the controller. In this project I will use the Postgres SQL DB. So that's why I am going to install the type ORM to build the query of the Postgres and PG and the .env for the environment variable. I am not going to detail explanation of this package. I already explained in the auth microservice where I use the PostgreSQL to create, and here I will copy some of the some of the things which we need for the PostgreSQL from this auth service. You can check this video how I created this auth service with the NestJS and the PostgreSQL database. So this is the env content of my Postgres installed in my local. If I log in, so this is the command to log into the Postgres using terminal, and the user here is the Postgres. I will put my password. By /l you can list all the database whatever presents in your Postgres. So we have the test auth book order. So for this email service I will use the database mailbox. So I will create this database, create database mailbox. So database successfully created. Now I will enter into the database by the command /c mailbox. Now you can see we are now connected to the database mailbox, and I will create the .env in our mail service where the database will be the mailbox. So inside mail service I will create .env, and here I will paste the content and I will change the database name. So these packages are installed. Now I will create the entity of the mail entity to specify the structure of the mail table in the database, including its columns and relationship with other entities. We will have the another table, the mail users, and there will be the relations between the mail and the mail user. So in the src folder I will create a folder type orm. The folder will be the type orm, and inside type orm I will create the mail entity.ts. Import the entity from the type orm. So type orm package I already installed, and inside type orm we have the entity, and by using this entity decorator we will define the class. This will be the @entity decorator, and I will export class mail. So here basically the entity decorator marks the class mail as an entity, indicating that it corresponds to our database tables. Next I will create column ID, which will be the auto generated primary key column. So I will use the decorator primary generated column, and our ID column will be the type of number. Next column will be the parent ID to identify the replies of a mail, and yeah, here I will take the general column decorator, and this property will be a nullable. So I will make the nullable true, and the column name will be the parent ID, and type will be the number. So basically the nullable true options allows the columns to have null values in the database. So here will be semicolon instead of the comma. Similarly I will have the subject of the mail, and the message, the body of the mail, which will be the type string and will be nullable. And next is the message props, if the message have any properties or the object values. So that's why I will take the column JSON. So Postgres allow the JSON type column, so I will take that, and it will also be nullable. So it will be nullable true, and it will be the message props, and type will be any. Similarly I will have the attachments. So if there is any attachments in the email, so I will store in the JSON format, and the column name will be the attachments. Next I will declare the column created at to store the created timestamp of the mailbox. So the column will be the definitely date, and I will default it to the current timestamp. So the default will be the current timestamp, timestamp, and the column name will be the created at, and data type will be date. Now I'll fix the lint error. The lint error fixed, the next entity will have the mail user entity. So I'll create the mail user entity, mail users dot entity dot ts. Before defining the mail user entity class, I want to define the enumeration. The enumerations are the user role, user status, and the user folder. So first will be the user role, export enum user role. This will represent the roles that a user can have in the context of mail. It includes the values like sender and the recipient. So there will be sender equal to sender, and the recipient will be the recipient, a string. Next enumeration will have the user status, the export enum user status. So this will represent the status of the user's interaction with a mail or the email message. It includes values like the read, unread, and committed. So it will be the read string value, unread, and next will be committed. And next enumeration I will export the user folder, export enum user folder. This will basically represent different folders that a mail or the mail message can be stored in. It includes values of the draft, inbox, sent, trash, and the archive. So first will be the draft, and second is the inbox, and next we'll have the sent, next will be the trash, and the archived also. Next I will import the column and the entity from the type ORM to define our mail user entity class. So by using the entity decorator, I will export the class mail user or the mail users. It will have the similar auto-generated and the auto-incremented primary key ID. So I will copy from it, and I will import the primary generated column from the type ORM. So here we'll have the primary generated column, and next column will have the mail column, which will represent the associated mail entity in the many to one relationship. So here I will make the many to one relationship. So I will take the mail, and here I will use the decorator many to one at the rate many to one, and here we'll have the many to one to the mail. So this basically represents or indicates that the many mail users entities can be associated with the one mail entity. Next I will use the join column decorator, This decorator basically specifies the join column for the many-to-one relationship. It determines the column in the mail users tables that is used to reference the associated mail entity. Next, we'll have the not nullable column user ID. Basically, I will take the user ID by decoding token, which user will be login, and the token will be generated with this ID, and from this token, I will take the ID and I will insert here. So ID will basically identify the users which will be involved in the mail operation. So this will be this there. I will take the column, generate column, and here will be the nullable false, and here will be the user ID and it will be number. It will be semicolon and here it will be semicolon. I will define two more not nullable column like the name of the users and the email of the users. Next we'll have the enum column role. So at the red column, and it will be our enum column, and the enum will be our user role which we already defined, and it will be the role and type will be the string. Next column will be the user status. The user status enum we already have, and it will be the defaulted to the unread. So at the red column I will take, and it will be the same enum user status, and it will be defaulted to user status dot unread, and this will be the status column which will be the data type string, status string. Similarly, I will define the user status user folder. So I will copy from it and I will paste it. Here will be the users folder and it will be the folder string. Next column will be the star. We can make a email as a star or unstar. So this will be basically the boolean column. So column, and it will be the default false. So I will default it to the false, and star will be boolean. And next, similarly created at. So I will copy the created at from the mail entity class and paste over there. So I define all the columns here. Next, I will fix the lint error. Next, I will go to the mail entity, and here I will define the one-to-many relationship between the mail and the mail users. So here I will use the one-to-many decorator, and here it will be the mail user, and mail users will be mail users dot mail. So basically it specifies that the each mailbox entity can be associated with the multiple mail users entities. The second argument specifies the inverse side of the relationship, and here the mailbox users or the mail users will have mail users array. So we defined our class, the mail and the mail users, by the entity. Next, I will take the configuration of the type ORM or the Postgres from the auth service. Here we already define and explain in the app module.ts, where we define the config modules, also the type ORM modules. So I will copy this from here. So I will copy whole, and I will paste it in our mailbox app module.ts or the mail service app module.ts. So here, before the mail service, before the mail module, I will import it. Here we have the user module. We don't have any user modules here. It will be the mail module, and the config module, config service I have to import. So here the config service and the config module, we need to install the NestJS /config. So I will install it npm i@nestjs /config. So it's successfully installed. Now I will import the config module from the @nestjs /config. So import config. So I will import the config module from the NestJS /config /config. So here we have the config module, and next we have the config service. And the type ORM module, we have to import from the type ORM. At the NestJS tab, and the entities, we will import all the entities from the index.ts file. So here I will import the mail, and next the mail user. Next I will create the entities class by the mail and the mail user, and next I will export the entities. Export the default entities, and here I will import the entities. Mail module, not mail module. We already have the mail module. This is the linter error. So I will already explain the whole things, the config module for the type ORM modules and the all the things, the user factory in the previous video where we created the auth service using the NestJS and the PostgreSQL. You can check that video for the details explanation. Next, when I start the servers, it will create the two tables, mail and the mail users, from the entity class. So before starting the server, I want to check the tables presence in our mailbox database. So we don't have any relations, we don't have any tables. So I will start the server by npm run start :dev in the development mode. So it will pick the mail entity and the mail user entity, and from this entity it will automatically create the mail and the mail users tables in our Postgres database. So it's starting the NestJS successfully. And if I listing the tables, you can see the mail and the mail users tables. If I describe the table mail, we have this: the ID, parent ID, subject, message, message props, attachments, and the mail users. Here the foreign key reference of the mail. And if I describe the mail users, so you can see we have the user ID, name, email, role, status. Next thing I will do, I will add the Swagger here. The Swagger for the API documentation and the API testings. So all the microservice we have built so far all have the Swagger. I already explained how to add the Swagger, so I will not go to the in details. So I will just copy the packages and the necessary things required for the Swagger to document the API. So we need the Swagger UI Express. and the @NestJS Swagger. So I will install it. So first we'll change directory to the mail service, and I will install the Swagger UI space and @NestJS/Swagger. Now I will add the Swagger documentation in the main.ts file. So I already added in the auth service. So here you can see the document and the document builder. I will copy from it and I will go to the mail service main.ts and I will paste all those necessary things just need for the Swagger. Paste it. Next we will have the document builder and the setup so that we can access it on the server endpoint/API. So here instead of the auth service it will be the mail service, and here the description will be the create draft mail list, draft mail, send mail list, inbox, and send mail APIs, and the tag will be the mail service. So that's it. Now if I go to the browser, and here our application is running on the 3000. So if I access the localhost 3000/API, 3000/API, so I can access the Swagger UI. Here you can see the mail service, create draft mail, list draft mail, send mail, list inbox, and the send email, and we'll have only the default route here, which will print the hello world. So if I execute it, you can see the hello world. This is the routes, the app controller.ts, the get. I'll comment it out. And next things we'll do, we'll create the DTO. So basically DTO stands for the data transfer objects. Here DTOs will represent the simple classes or interface that contains the properties corresponding to the data being transferred. So they do not contain any business logic, only data properties, and sometimes the validation logic. I will apply the validation logics in the DTOs. Those are used to facilitate the communication between different parts of the application while keeping the data structure clean and separate from each other. So first DTO, I will create the create mail DTO. Create draft mail DTO, so that the user can create draft mail using this DTO. So inside mailbox directory, I will create a folder DTOs, and inside DTOs, first DTO will be the draft mail, create draft mail.dto.ts. Here I need to import some of the important decorators. So first is the check is number. So I will import those decorator from the class validator. So class validator currently not installed, so I will install the class validator first. So in PMI class validator. So next I will import the decorator is number. Its number from the class validator. Next is string to check the string column, and next is optional to check if any column is optional, to check if it's optional or not. It's JSON. We have also the JSON column, the message props, and the attachments. I will export the data transport object for the create a draft mail. So export class create draft mail TTO, and first things, the parent ID will be the is optional, and it should be a number as the data type was the number, so it will be the parent ID, and data type will be the number. Similarly, next we'll have the subject, the email subject, which will be the optionals, and the which will data type will be the string, where we have the string checking, and the message, which will also be optionals, and the data type string, and the attachments, which will be optional, and the data type is JSON. So now I will go to the mail service.trace and create the create draft mail. First, I will define the constructor, and inside constructor, I will take the inject repository decorator for both the mail and the mail user. First, the mail. So basically, this decorator, the inject repository, is used for the dependency injection, as is imported from the type ORM. It injects the mail repository into the mail user, into the mail repository. So like this. So if I come to this new line, and here I will define the mail repository private mail repository. It will be read only also, the mail repository, and it will be the repository of mail entity. So basically, it injects the mail repository into the it injects the mail entity into the mail repository property, allows the service to interact with the mail entity in the database. Next, similarly, I will declare for the mailbox, or sorry, mail users, and it will be the mail users repository, and here will be the mail users. Next, I will create the method create draft mail, which will take the create draft mail TTO, the create draft mail TTO, create draft mail TTO type, and next the user details, it will fetch from the decoded token. So the decoded user, and I will put any. If I run the auth service and decode a token, I will go to the auth service, change directly to the auth service, and I will run in the development mode. So our auth service is running, and it's listening on port 3100. Now from the Swagger UI, you can see the authentication and the authorization API. So I will log in. I have this username password, so I will try it out. I will put the username password and execute, and I will get the token. So if you decode the token from the jwt.io site, and if I paste the token here, you can see we have the user ID, name, email, password, and these things. So based on this object, I will create the DTO, decoded user DTO. So inside our DTO, there will be the decoded user.dto.ts, and here we will have all this. The create user DTO will have the user ID, name, email, password, ID, and the expiry, and it will be validated by the class validator. Now in the mail service, instead of any, I will use the decoded user DTO. So decoded user detail export class. So instead of the create user detail, it will be the decoded user. Now if I import here decoded user detail, and it will create the draft email and return the mail ID. So if I look into the create draft mailbox detail, we have the parent ID, subject, message, and the attachment. So I will restructure this, and I will take those the parent email, the parent ID. I'll create draft mailbox detail. I will have the parent ID, next the subject, message, and attachments. Next, I need to entity manager from the repository, mail repository dot entity dot manager, so that I can perform the transactions here. Here will be the insertion in the two tables, mail and the mail users. If both successfully done, then the transaction will be committed. If any insertions fail, then all will be the rollback. Then no data will be inserted in the both the table. So const entity manager will have the this dot mail repository dot manager. Next, I will start the transactions. So first, I will create a query runner const, and here I will take the entity manager dot transaction. So this basically this transactions method of the entity managers start the transactions. So basically the transactions allows for a series of database operations to be treated as a single unit of work. Next, inside transactions, I will define a asynchronous transactions manager or the transactions entity managers. These functions will contain the database operation to be executed within the transactions. So async, which will take transaction entity manager, TITY manager, which will take the entity manager. Now using this transactions entity manager, I will create the transactions like the insert a row into the mail and the mail user. So const mail equal to await transactions entity manager dot save, and it will save the mail and the body of the mail, whatever we have, the parent ID. Next, the subject. Next, message. And next, the attachments, if any. So this is done. Now I will take the mail ID, number in outside, and here I will store the mail ID. And the next transactions will be the insert a row into our mail users. So I await. Similarly, the transactions entity manager dot save, and here it will be the mail users. In body, there we'll have mail. Mail will be the mail and the user ID. we'll have the decoded user dot user ID. Next is the name, decoded user dot name. Next email, decoded user dot email. And next role will be the user role dot sender. On folder will be the user folder and the drop. Next, I will put the transactions the query runner in a try catch block. So try, it will await for the query runner. So basically, if it's successful, it waits for the transactions to complete. So await query runner and returns the mailbox ID. So it will return the mail ID here. And if anything error happens, so I will import the logger here. So it will be the private read-only logger. So new logger from the NestJS common, and it will be the mail service dot name. And if error happens, I will log the error, this dot logger dot error e, and I will throw the error. So our create draft mail service is completed. Now I will add the controller to test the create draft mail. So inside controller, so here inside constructor, I will take the mail service. So constructor, so the private read only mail service, and it will be the mail service, and it will be the post route. So I will take the post decorator from the NestJS common, and name will be the async create draft mail. It will first take the product parameter. In the body, it will take create mail DTO, create draft mail, create mail DTO, which will be the type, the create draft mail DTO. So I will make it also the draft mail, and it will take the request response also, and the request at request. Now if I see the console log here, you can see we have a error, this private read only. Also this will be the constructor where is the controller, and this will be constructor, and the decorators are valid here. And we also have in the server, service mail service, the inject repository. So here so need this. So if you see the log here, we have the compilation error, the mail repository at index 0. These arguments should be present. So if you see the mail service, we have this mail repository, mail user repository. But if I go to the module, we didn't import this feature, the type ORM feature here. So I will import this. So I will import type ORM module, type ORM module dot for feature, and we both have the mail and the mail user repository. Then I will provide the mail and the mail user. This should be fine now. So this imports basically specify it's importing other modules or specific features required by this module, the mail module, and the type ORM module dot for features. This is the method provided by the type ORM for registering entities in the current scope. It allows you to specify which entities will be available in this module for dependency injections and usage within the service and the controller. So in the service, we use this mail repository for the mail and the mail user repository. That's why I imported here. So you can see it's found 0 error, it ran successfully. Now I will access the Swagger UI where we can get this route, create a draft mail, and we will create a draft mail. And if I go to the database here, so if I select star form mail with 0 rows, we have 0 rows, and users also have 0 rows. So after creating a draft email, there will be the 1 row. So if you see the Swagger, the mail service Swagger, we have this post route, create draft email. And here we have to provide the request body, and I will get the 201 on successful, and if anything error happens, we will get the 400 or the 500. So now if I check our request body create mail DTO, so the 4 fields are optional. So we so without any parent ID subject message attachments, we can create a draft mail. So I will try it. So try it out and execute. Now it's internal server error we have. So here you can see we have the reading user ID is not able to find the user ID here. So if you see here, it's taking the decoded users. So basically we have to add the auth guard here, other than the whoever have this API, the draft email API can create the draft email. So before creating the draft email, we have to authenticate the users which who is creating the draft email. So I already added this auth guard part, the authorization part in our auth service. So I will copy the required code base from the auth service. You can check this video, the auth service creation video, how I added the auth guard here. So if I go to the users, we have this auth guard, which actually from the NestJS command, it takes the can activate, and this can activate actually checking if your request header have the token. If the token presents, it will decode the token and it will store in the request.users. So I will copy it, and inside mail service and inside our mail, I will create authguard.ts. Here I only require the auth guard, but don't need to store the user details. User details will be stored in the auth services. So by calling the auth service, we will get the token and we will provide in the mail service. And here we don't need the request user ID. We just validate the token and decode it. If it's valid token, it will return true. Other than it will return false. I'll fix the lint error. And here I took the @nestjs/jwt package for the JWT service to verify the token. So now I will install this package. So this package install. Now if I go to here, it's watching for file changes. So the error should be gone. And now Now if I go to the in the auth service, we have the user module where I asynchronously configure this JWT modules in the imports. So I will copy it, and here in our mail module I will asynchronously configure. So inside type ORM module, so here the JWT module, I need to import the JWT module. So I will take it from the NestJS JWT and the config module from the NestJS config and the config service update import, and the secret, we already have the secret in the .env. You can see the secret, my secret. It should be matched with our auth service. So by using this secret, it's actually decode the token whichever we get from the auth service. If I go to the auth service.env, here you can see we have the same secret in both the service. And if I check, at this NestJS/JWT, it's not finding in the auth card, so I have to restart the server. I already installed it. If you see in the package.json of the mail service, so we have the JWT. So you can see it's compiled successfully. So I'll fix the lint error. And here the JWT module.register async. This method provided by the JWT module of the NestJS used to asynchronously configure the JWT modules. And here I took the config module to take the config like secret from our .env, and the use factory I used. This property is a function that returns an object representing the configuration for JWT. And here I inject the config service to specify the dependencies that need to be injected in our user use factory. And config module, the next, I think we need to config module here. So if I go to the user module.ts, in the config modules imports, we already have this config module. Okay, this is fine now. Now I will apply in the controller, I will apply the can activate. So if you see the user controller, so we have the, so if you see the user controller, we had the get logged in user routes where we use the use guard, auth guard, so that if the token is present, then only the user can call this route. Otherwise it will get the unauthorized error. So for the empty mail routes, the auth guard will be there. So right now we have this create draft email. So I will apply here use guard auth guard. Auth guards I will take from the auth guard. Now this is fine. And if I go to it's compilation successful. Now if I try to execute, you can see we have this forbidden resource 403 because in the header we don't have any JWT token. So in the auth service, I will log in by a valid user. So here we have this login route, and I will log in with sjmalik@test.com, and the password we have the secret pass. If I execute, and we have the token. Now I will copy the token. I will go to the mail service, and we have this authorize, and I will authorize it. So now this mail service have the token. Now if I try to create, you can see in the authorization, the BRR, here is the token is provided, and here we successfully created a mail with the mail ID 2. Now if I select star from mail, you can see we have the mail. We didn't provide any of this, that's why it's null. And if I go to the, if I select star for mailbox users, you can see it's from the decoded token. It's fetch the user ID, name, email, and the role is sender obviously, and the status update folder and created as this timestamp, and the mail ID have to. Now I will write the get mail list so that we can listing the draft mails. So for this I will create the service. So I will go to the service. I am closing all. I will go to the mail service, and here I will add the method fetch email. So before writing the function, the service to get the email list, the response will be a specific array of object. So first I will define this array of object. It will contain the mails and the mails user. So in the DTO, I will define the mail DTO, mail user DTO, and this response will be the paginated response. Then I will define the paginated mails list DTO. So the mail dot So the mail DTO will contain each of the column inside the table mail, the ID, parent ID, subject message, all the things. Then also I will define here. So I will export class mail DTO, and first it will contain the ID, which will be the integer. So I will check the isInt. So the class validator, from the class validator I took the decorator isInt to check the response is integer or not. If it's not integer, then it will complain and it will be the number. So if I describe the mail table, so you have the ID integer, the parent ID also will be the integer. So similarly I will copy it, and it will be the parent ID, and it will be the optional field. So I will use the is optional decorator here. Next we have the subject, which is string. So I will use the is string decorator, and it will also be optional. So I will use the is optional decorator here, and it will be the subject, and the data type will be string. Next we have this message. Message is also string, so I will copy it, and it will also optional. So it will be similar to the subject, and it will be message. Next we have the message props. Message props is JSON. So here it's optional. It's JSON and it's optional. Message props, and type will be any object. Next we have the attachments. Attachments will be same. And next created date. Created date is the date, and it will be defaulted to the current date. So I will take the is date only, and the created date created at the data type will be date. Next, in the mail can have the multiple users like the sender, receivers. So here I will declare the array minimum size, and a decorator. Array minimum size will be 1. There should be 1 users associated with the mail. If it's draft, then it's the sender only, and if it's send email, then the sender receiver both will be present. So the mail users, and here the mail, here will be the mail users DTO mails. So I don't have the mail user DTO, so here I will create the mail user DTO, mail users dot DTO dot yes. And if I describe the mail user, so we'll get the all the column here, and it will be like this. ID, parent ID will be similar, the user ID, both are integer. We'll copy, and it will be the mail users DTO is int. I will took it from the class validator, and the is optional also. Class validator, and instead of the parent ID, it will be the user ID. And name, all the fields here are the not null. Then this mail ID, so this optional will not be there. So after the user ID, we have the name, email. Name will be string, @ string, and name will be string. Similarly, the email will be is email if it's obey the format of the email, is a valid email checking. But email will be also string. And next we have the role status and the folder. We already have the enum, so I'll check it's follow the is enum, and inside for the role I will check the user role, which already declared, and the role will be string. Next is enum will be the status, so the user status, and the status will be string. Next is the folder, user folder, and the folder will also be data type string. Next we have the star, which is the boolean, so I'll use the is boolean decorator to check if it's boolean or not, and star will be boolean. And next created at, similarly I will take this created at. It's fine now. Now the mail user DTO, I have to here the mail user DTO, and it will be the array. Now I will check state. We have to import in from the class validator. It should be fine now. I will fix the lint error. So you can see the lint error fixed. It is optional, it's not required here. And the mail DTO. Next I will define the DTO, paginated mails DTO. So the paginated mails DTO, or the paginated mails.dto.ts, and it will export class paginated mails DTO, and it will contain the results, which will be the results will be the array of the mail results, mail DTO array. The mail DTO array also contain the mail users, and in the pagination I also need the total count, which will be the integer. So I will check integer, and it will be the total count, which will be number type. Now the paginated mails DTO is prepared. Now I will go to the mail service and write the fetch emails list. So our service will be the async fetch mail list, and it will first take the user ID. So which user ID is asked to fetch the mails? User ID will be number. And next for the pagination, we need the page, this number, and the per page record. And next is the role, for which role he asked for in the list, and also the folder. So by using the same service, we can get the inbox email list, the draft email list, also the sent email list. So user folder. So next it will return promise, and promise it will return the paginated mails DTO, which we declared recently. So here the page and the per page will be the optional. The user If the user didn't provide the page and the per page, I will assign to the page 1 and the per page 10. So page equal to page, I am checking the page present, then it will be page, otherwise 1. And the per page, if it's present, then it will be per page, otherwise 10. Next, I will calculate the offset and limit. Calculate offset and limit for the query. So the const offset will be the page minus 1 into per page, and limit will be the per page. Limit per page record. For error handling, I will place the query inside the try block. If anything error happens, then I will throw this error. So I will log this using the logger. We have the logger error. Fail to fetch mail list, and error will be printed here, and I will show so that the controller can catch it and provide the users the details of this error. Next, I will form the query to get the distinct mail IDs by providing the user ID, role, and the folder. So the const mails await, I will use the mail users repository. So we have this mail user repository dot create query builder. So basically here this create query builder starts building the SQL query using the type ORM query builders, and it will take the table, the mailbox or the mail users. So the mail users, the email users, and it will select the mail ID. So if you see, we have the mail ID, which is the reference of the mail column, the mail table, sorry. So select mail ID, mail users dot mail ID, and I will name it the mail underscore ID. Next, I will apply the 3 conditions here. Next, I will apply the 3 conditions here, where the mail users dot user ID equal to colon user ID. It should be matched with the user ID provided here, the user ID, this user ID. And next, and where the mail user dot role should be same as the role provided here. And next, the folder, and where mail users dot folder equal to colon folder. So this user ID basically the variables things which from this user ID value it will place here in the role also. So it will place here, and it will try to check if it's for this user ID, role, and folder, it will get the list. So here basically this parameters values, user ID, role, and the folders is injected using the provided object, the user ID. And we have to ensure the unique rows should be returned by this query. So I will make the unique, the distinct. The distinct will basically ensure the unique rows will be fetched, and I will make it true. And next, I want to return the results at the raw array object. So get, I will use the get raw many. So that's it. We'll get all the mail IDs. So basically the get raw many will return the row objects, and each objects in the array corresponding to a row in the result sets with keys matching the alias specified in the select method. So it will so we'll create the array of object mail id, and like the if the mail id 1 matches the mail id 1, mail id 2, like this. Now I will extract the mail IDs array only from this result. So mail IDs equal to mails, sorry, the mails dot map, mapping all the mail. I will just extract the mail dot mail underscore ID. So this dot logger, I will log this mail IDs, logger dot debug mail IDs, mail IDs have and if the mail ID's length is 0, then we'll return the 0 results or the 0 rows. So if mail ID's dot length equal to 0, then I will construct the response, and the response will be the type paginated mails DTO. So we have the paginated mails DTO, and paginated mails DTO contains the results. The results will be the empty array, and the total count will be 0. And I will return this, return the response here. So you can see here we have the two errors. The rule, the required parameters cannot follow the optional parameters. So we have to declare first before the page and the per page. And next it will be the actual table name, the mail users. Now it's fine. If the mail ID's dot length greater than 0, then I will form the query where the inner join will be performed with the mail users relations with the mails entity, and it also specified it will be specified that the associated mail user data will be retrieved along with the mails data in a single query. So after this checking, I will form this query which will return me the results array and the total count also. With this dot mail repository dot create query builder, it will take the tables mails, and I will join with the mail users. If you see the mail entity, we have this one-to-many mail users relation. So here dot inner join and select. So I will use this inner join and select, and it will be the mail dot mail users, comma the mail users table, and apply the condition here where the mail dot ID in, and I will take the variables here, mail IDs. I am using here the spread operator, so there will be one more, and this will be the mail IDs. If it matches the mail IDs which we formed above, and in these results I will apply the offset and limit. Offset dot limit and get many and count. So it will give me the results of the results, also the total count. So if you see the service, this service will return the paginated mails DTO. Paginated mails DTO will contain the results, the mail DTO, and the mail DTO will have this in this columns will the mail users DTO. So I have to map the results according to this. So here I will form this paginated mails DTO. So const mail DTO equal to, it will be the type of the mail DTO. So it will be array. So I will take the mail DTO's array, and here the results dot map, I'll took the result from the mail DTO. So const mail DTO colon mail DTO equal to, here we will have the ID. ID will be the result.id. Next is the parent ID. Result.parent ID. Next we'll have the message, the result.message, and the subject, result.subject, and also have the message props, result.message props, attachments, similarly result.attachments created at, and next we have remain the mail users, which will be the array. Here I will result dot email users dot map email user. So here I will take the email user DTO, the mail user DTO equal to total user DTO, and it will have the ID, mail user ID dot ID. Next will be the name, mail user dot name, email mail user dot mail. Yeah, forgot the user ID. The user ID, we have the mail user dot user ID. Next we have the role. So similarly I define the role status and star folder. So role basically will be the user role. So the type should be matched, the mail user DTO. If you see, we have the type here, the user role. That's why I take as user role. And we have all. Now I have to return this. So from this map function, I will return the mail user DTO. Return mail user DTO. And for this mapping function, I will. So now if I want to fetch the draft mail list, so you can see we have the author here by but facing this issue, the select distinct. We have issue in the query. I check the log. So here you can see the failed to fetch mail list, query failed, missing form clause from the mail users. So the query seems like not correct. So I'll pick the query from here, and I will try to execute it in our PSQL terminal. So first I will remove all these extra characters. So I will replace with the empty and replace all. And next, if I see the query, select distinct mail users dot mail ID as the mail ID from mail users as mail users, where mail user ID equal to, I will place the value 1, and the mail user role will be sender. So here we have this value. Sorry, sender, and the folder will be draft. So I will copy the draft and I will place it here. Now I will copy the query, go to terminal. I will copy the select query, and I will go to the terminal. Here we have in the mailbox database. So I will execute it, and you can see we have the select distinct mail users. The mail users.mail ID does not exist. So if I make it in quotes, let's see if it works or not. Mail users mail ID does not exist. So I will try to fix the query. So we have the mail users. So the mail users. So if I check the tables, we have the mail and the mail users. It is correct. So alias things I will remove first and try to fetch select distinct mail ID as mail ID from mail users, where the mail users dot user ID, where the user ID is one, role is folder. So we are querying the only single table. So I am removing the alias thing. Now I will try to execute this query. And you can see we have the Pascal case here. The mail ID I is capital, but it's treating as the all small. So I will try to enclose this with inverted comma and try to execute it. User ID is also complaining. So user ID I also have to enclose. Now I will clear the screen, and if I execute it, role sender, column sender does not exist. Role equal to sender. So if I select star from mail user, so we have the role sender, but it's not able to identify. Sorry, seems like this is my bad. So here it will be the single inverted comma instead of this, because those are the values. So now it should work. Here you can see I am getting the mail ID. Now I will correct it in our service. So here in the mail service, instead of this query builder thing, I will use the raw query here. So I will comment it out, and here I will use the query where I can run the raw query, and the query will be select distinct mail users dot mail ID, and mail ID I will remain in the inverted comma as mail ID, and next from mail users table, and I will put the alias here. So our alias is the mail user, and now I will put the conditions. First conditions we have here, where mail users dot user ID, and it will be in the inverted comma. Here I will took the variable $1 first variable, and next condition we have the mail users dot role. I will take the second variable here, and next condition we have the mail users dot folder, and the third variable. Now I will take the variables. First is the user ID, next is the role, and next is the folder. Now the query seems like okay. So it's compiled successfully. Now I will test it. So I will execute it. And here I am getting the results. You can see we have this mail with the mail users. So next I will create another draft email with subject and the message. So here you can see my subject is the test draft mails and the message is the saving as draft. Now I will execute it, and it executed. The mail ID is 3. Now I will try to fetch the draft mail list, and if I fetch, you can see we have these two mails there. One is the ID 2, which don't have any message and the subject, and here we have the ID 3, which have the message subjects and the mail users. Mail users, which the current logged in users, this one, and it's getting the details from the token. So that's it for this video. Also in this video we saw how to create a draft mails and the fetch the draft mails. So here I am using the auth services, the other services for the authentication purpose. Other microservices, the mail microservice use the auth service to authenticate and to get the details of the users. And in the next part of this video I will show you how to create a API for the sent mail to the another user, and listing the sent and the inbox emails, and we will build the APIs to move a mail to the trash folders and listing the trash emails, and also we will see the replies if a mail have more than one replies. So how we will show it. So please stick to this series, the NestJS microservice. And I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Please share my video. Please comments, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.